All right, so today we're going to be talking about multiplying fractions and different ways to see that. So there are two ways to multiply fractions. You can either multiply first, then simplify, or you can simplify first and then multiply. Here's how to multiply fractions. It's up here in this box right here. To multiply, you multiply the numerators, so the top, then the denominators, or the bottom, and then write the answer in simplest form. So there are two ways again, so we're going to look at way one first. Multiply first, then simplify. So we're going to multiply and you just go straight across. I'm going to put my little fraction bar down. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. Now we need to simplify. So I'm going to find both of those numbers on the same line on my multiplication chart. I find them on the 6th line. So 6 divided by 6 is 1 and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So 6 over 12 is also 1/2. On the next one, we're going to do it the exact same way. So we're going to go 3 times 5 and then 4 times 9. So write my fraction bar for my answer. 3 times 5 is 15 and 4 times 9 is 36. So I'm going to look for both of those on the same line on my multiplication chart. So I see them both on the 3 line. So I'm going to divide both of those by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 36 divided by 3 is 12. That is the simplest form because it has a 5 on top and an even number on the bottom. So let's look at the second way. This is my favorite way to do it because I'm usually working with smaller numbers and it's a lot easier. You simplify first, so you cross simplify. So you're going to look crisscross and see if those numbers can be divided by the same thing. So 3 and 3 are the same number, which means that they are going to change to a 1 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then I'm going to look across the other way. So you always have to look across. Oops. We have 4 and 2. 4 and 2 can both be divided by 2. So we are going to get 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now we're going to take those numbers that we just got and we're going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. This way we're working with smaller numbers and we're not having to focus on simplifying afterwards. Remember, it is up to you on which way you want to use to do this. Let's do the second one for an example. So we're going to simplify first. So we're going to look at the cross section first. So I'm going to look 3 and 6 first. I know that 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. I'm going to look across this way, and I see 5 and 10. And I know that 10 and 5 can both be divided by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Multiply straight across. So when I multiply straight across, 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. 1/4. This method is easier because you're using smaller numbers and they are more likely to be on your multiplication chart or numbers that you're more familiar with than anything else. Let's go ahead and take a look over with multiplying whole numbers and fractions. So for this one, pay attention to my invisible math wall in the back. So if you look on the orange poster right underneath the word math, it says 3 is equal to 3 over 1. So when we're writing a whole number, the whole number goes on top and a 1 goes underneath. So on this one, 12 would be 12 over 1. 45 would be 45 over 1. So anytime you have a whole number, make it a fraction by making a fraction line and putting a 1 underneath it. So we're going to use this and also keep multiplying. So I'm going to make this whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So now we're doing 1/6 times 24 ones. So you can either multiply straight across and then simplify, or you can simplify first. I am going to simplify first. So 1 and 1 are as low as they can go, but I have 6 and 24. So I know if I can find both of those on my multiplication chart, I have 6 and 24 on the 6th line. So 6 becomes a 1, 24 becomes a 4. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. We can simplify this even further because we know that any number over 1 is just itself. So that can go away, and the answer would just be 4. Let's try this with 2 more. So we have 2 times 4/5. We're going to make that 2 into a fraction, and we are going to go ahead and multiply or simplify. So when I look across, 2 and 5 will not be on the same line, and 4 and 1 will not be on the same line. So we are going to go ahead and just multiply straight across because that means it will be in simplest form already. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 5 is 5. This is an improper fraction, and in order to make this into a proper fraction, we would have to subtract how many we have. So this is a fat cowboy. Subtract the 5 out of there. It can come out 1 time. The denominator stays the same. And then when we subtract that 5, 8 minus 5 would be 3. So 1 3/5. If you need more help with making it into mixed numbers, just let me know and we can work through that too. Let's go ahead and look at this next one. It is 1/2 times 4. So we're going to make that 4 over 1. I'm going to look to see if I can cross multiply. 1 and 1 are the same, so they're not going to do anything, and they're the lowest. Then we have 2 and 4. So I know that those can both be divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're going to multiply straight across. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And then remember, any number over 1 is just itself. So that answer would be 2. Go ahead and flip this over to the back of the paper, and we're going to go ahead and look at this section. Now, this is a little harder, but we're using skills that we already know. So we're going to just be working on this multiplying mixed numbers. So the first thing we need to do is turn it into an improper fraction. So to turn it into an improper fraction, let me draw it over here, and I want you to do the same. So I'm going to use the example in the first one, 3 1/2. So here you need to multiply, and then that answer, you're going to add it to the top. Okay, so multiply, then add. So we're going to do this on this first one. We're going to multiply the denominator to the whole number. So 2 times 3 is 6. Then we're going to add that to the top here. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So that means, remember, your denominator stays the same, and on top of your fraction is the answer you got after you multiplied and then added. So that would be 7 over 2. So when I look across, 1 and 2 can't be simplified, and 2 and 7 cannot be simplified. So I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we do need to re-put this back into a mixed number. So that means we need to undo this. So 4 can go into 7 1 time. So that's going to be our whole number. And then we would subtract how many times we took it out. So 4 times 1 is 4. So 7 minus 4 is 3. And your denominator does not change from the original that we have here. So it would stay a 4. Let's do another example. Both of these we have to convert, and then we need to multiply through. So we're going to multiply, and then 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, so that's my new number on top, and my denominator stays the same, so that will be 2. Again, on this side, 3 3/4, so 3 times 4 is 12. Add that to the top. 12 plus 3 is 15. My denominator stays exactly the same. When I look at cross simplifying, 3 and 4 and 2 and 15 will not simplify across, so we're just going to multiply straight across. 3 times 15, this one isn't on our multiplication chart, so we might have to break it down. 3 times 5 is 15. carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So this would be 45 over 2 times 4 is 8. Now this can't simplify because you will not find 8 and 45 on the same one, but because this is a fat cowboy, which means our denominator is bigger, our numerator is bigger than our denominator, we need to make it back into a mixed number. So we're going to go to our 8 line and find how many times it can go into 45 without going over. It can go in 5 times, so that's going to be my whole number, and that would take away 40 from the top. My denominator stays the same, and 45 minus 40 is 5. So your answer would be 5 and 5/8. We're going to go ahead and do one more together as a class, and we will work on the dividing fractions tomorrow.